Grace and peace to you, beloved Princeton United Methodist Church community. It's Pastor Jenny here with a midweek update. It's Wednesday, April 1st, and Sunday begins Holy Week. I can hardly believe that it's Palm Sunday on Sunday. And we have been hard at work trying to reimagine how to keep Holy Week sacred for us all in this time of physical distancing, how to keep us connected, how to help us really journey through the passion of Jesus Christ, which is what Holy Week is all about. And there's a way that I think the stories of Holy Week, of Jesus' passion, while so important to us, can also feel kind of distant to us as we go about our normal lives. But I think this year, because of this enormous crisis, this challenge, this struggle that we are in to combat the COVID-19 virus, to keep each other safe, to keep the medical system from being overwhelmed, the things that we're having to do to make that happen, the challenges that we are facing, the isolation, the fear, the anxiety, all these different things, I think actually give us an opportunity to connect with the passion of Christ in ways that we might not do every time. And so I invite you in. I invite you into Holy Week, ready to bring your whole self and everything you're experiencing with you. And for us to together see how Christ continues to show up, how God continues to be incarnate to us, how God continues to journey with us through all the different emotions and struggles and pain, and bringing us back to life in resurrection life that we will celebrate on Easter. I have this little book here. It's a board book called Holy Week, an emotions primer. I'm not going to read it to you, but I am going to flip through it because I think it reminds us what Holy Week is about, and it also brings some of our emotions into this as well. So just enter into this with me for a moment. There's excited on Palm Sunday, angry as Jesus enters the temple for the first part of the week, loved as Jesus is washing his disciples' feet, thankful as Jesus celebrates a Last Supper with his friends, overwhelmed as Jesus is in the garden, anguished as he faces what's coming next, frustrated as he undergoes trial and faces the authorities, scared as he faces death on the cross, sad as the tomb is just there and real and death is present, surprised as people begin to see the resurrected Christ, and joyful as they are reunited with the risen Christ. And so I invite us deeply into Holy Week this year, perhaps in ways that you have never entered into Holy Week. We will have worship services as we usually do, except that we will not be in the same space. So we're having worship services virtually through Facebook Live and phone. You can still phone in, or I'm going to give you the instructions for all of that in the email that's attached to this. We are also putting together packets that you will receive in the next few days that will help you into this. We're going to send you worship bulletins. There's going to be a palm in your packet. There's going to be some prayer stations, one for each day of Holy Week. Of course, you can do that any way that you want, but we're putting them out there for you to do one each day. We're going to do Maundy Thursday, Holy Thursday worship at 6 o'clock live on Thursday. And then Good Friday worship at 6 o'clock live on Friday. I'm going to be having a short 20-minute prayer service on Saturday morning. And then we're celebrating Easter at 6:30 for our sunrise service, and then at 10 o'clock for our regular service. So I hope that you'll be at all of that. And I also hope that you will invite somebody else to come and join us. Maybe, again, you've been missing somebody from our congregation that you haven't seen in some of these spaces, and you want to reach out and just make sure that they're connected and connecting, and if they need technical help or whatever it is, maybe offer it to them. But I'm also guessing that over the course of these past few weeks, you have been in conversation, virtual conversation, with a neighbor or a co-worker or another family that's connected to you through school or some other organization that you're part of, who is expressing to you how hard this is, that they have been anxious or worried or afraid or alone. And what would it be like for you to reach out and to invite them to be part of this journey with us through Holy Week and especially on Easter? This is like the easiest time ever to invite somebody to worship, because you just give them a link or a phone number and say, will you join us? I'll be there too. So I invite you into all of that. One more thing about worship is that this Sunday, as it's Palm Sunday, we want to create a virtual palm parade. And we're doing this kind of after the fact. So we're going to collect pictures and videos through worship on Sunday morning and send to you as soon as we can after that a virtual palm parade. But here's what we need you to do is when you get your palm in the mail, now who knows what shape it's going to be in, but if you get your palm in the mail, you can use it, or you can use, we're also going to send you a paper palm that you can cut out and decorate, or you can just go out in your yard or on one of your walks and gather a branch. It doesn't matter if it's a palm branch. We don't have palm trees around here. So whatever branch you can find, and take a picture. Or make a little video of yourself and your family, whoever you've got around you, waving it. You can be a selfie, that's fine. But then send it in to us. I'll give you the instructions of how to do that in the email that this is connected to. And send it in, and we will create a little montage of all of that and give it back to you as a little gift, showing us all doing this together. I wanted to update you about a couple of things as well. We're also working on how to do some virtual coffee hour times. Probably not every week, but we're missing one another, and we want to figure out how to do some of this. We have a lot of ideas for things like this and some other things, but we need some helpers. So if you are somebody who feels pretty comfortable with technology, you don't have to know all the things of how, but if you do, it's an extra bonus. But even if you feel just comfortable enough and ready to learn some more, we would love to have your help. I know that some of us, it feels like some of us are either way busier than we normally are, or we have less to do than we normally do. So if you're one of those people that has some comfort with technology and has some time on your hands, please let us know. We would really appreciate some help from you, and we can put you to work quickly. I also wanted to update you about some of our office things that are going on. So if you'll remember that we are doing a reorganization of our office ministry, and Debbie Block's last day with us was yesterday. It was March 31st. And so because of the COVID crisis and a couple of other things, we have been delayed in our hiring process. So we've had to put together a little bit of an interim plan. And what we're focused on is really covering some basic office functions. More than this will happen, but at the very least, we are making sure that phones are covered, not necessarily answered every time they ring, but that messages are responded to in a timely fashion. We're making sure that our office email is covered. So if you email office@princetonumc.org, you should get a response. And our postal mail is also covered. So if you are sending in your pledges, your tithes, your gifts, your offerings, if you're sending in other things that you hope that we will receive, then know that those will be received, and we will take care of those properly. We have kind of a three-pronged approach to how we're making sure that some of these basic office things are covered. We have a church member named Temi Tayo who has volunteered to come into the office to be one of the few people that's in our office and helping with those phones and email and postal mail and a few other details. We're still working out her schedule, but she'll be there a few days a week for a few hours each of those days. We are also grateful that Hyosang Park, our music director, has volunteered to help with worship support. So she's working on worship materials and bulletins and virtual bulletins and some really important things like that to help us be ready for worship. for each of our worship times. And we're also in the process of contracting with a virtual assistant company that will fill in some of this gap as well on a temporary basis. And we'll give you more information about that as those things become more firm. But you may be hearing from Hyosang or from Temi or from a virtual assistant as you go about normal office kinds of things, communications. So again, we'll keep you updated even more on that. And the last thing I want to share is that we've been so good at like revving ourselves up and bolstering ourselves to get done what needs to get done, to flatten that curve and to combat this virus and to keep each other safe. And as we are understanding this more and more, that's happening, and you're doing great. And we are likely going to be in this for a while. It's not just going to be a couple more weeks. It's going to be several more weeks, and maybe many more weeks. And so with that news means some continued shifting and some continued kind of finding new normals. And it also means that kind of these layers of things that have been piled upon us that we can sustain for a short time may start to feel heavier on us. I know this has already been heavy on many of us, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, all sorts of things. So I want you to know that we want to hear from you. We want to stay connected to you. We want to connect to each other through worship, which is one of the ways that God comes most fully to us. But we also want to hear from you, and we want to be present to you, again, in these virtual ways, especially if you are struggling, as you feel yourself getting anxious or angry or scared, as you feel the weight and the pain of isolation, as you have normal things that you're struggling with, like sickness or financial burdens because of this crisis or regularly. If you're having any trouble getting food or the basic necessities that you need, if you want somebody to listen to you for a little bit because you're angry and need to rant, or because you're scared and need some assurance, if you need somebody to pray with you, we want to help you. So reach out to one of us pastors, reach out to Circle of Care at PrincetonUMC.org, and somebody will respond to you and help you. We want to be present for you. We want to be the church for you. We want to do this for one another. And so please don't hesitate. We want this for you. So blessings and love to each of you. I miss you very, very much, and I want you to hear that from me. And I cannot wait until we get to be together again. It will happen, even if it doesn't happen in the next couple of weeks. It will. So grace and peace to you all, and I will talk to you again shortly.